What's up, everybody? Welcome to the channel, and this is my current UFL squad, and this is my current UFL stance. I did a check-in on the game today because we have a huge tournament coming up Saturday evening, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. 8 players for the 1K Cup. The winner will qualify for the Champions Cup later this year, which will be a cash prize for the winner. So, if you feel like you are a top UFL player, this is a perfect opportunity for you to play No Exploit UFL football. With that being said, I wanted to get into the game and see what was going on. I always told you guys that I wouldn't totally abandon the game as long as some of you were still playing, and that is exactly what I did. I didn't abandon the game. I don't play it as much because as soon as it became not skill-based and it became whoever did the most exploits wins, I was out of here. That's not a true football game. However, my experience last night was a very good one. I gave the game an overall grade of a B+. I played 4 games, I believe, and there was some beautiful football, some beautiful build-up, some beautiful goals, some excellent defensive plays, right? The defense is still stiff. You can't totally defend how you should be able to. It's not total natural movement. It's a little different than real defense, but you're still manually changing defenders, blocking, passing, and dribbling lanes, committing to tackles, and yes, at times because of the stiffness, you're going to get burnt, but the general basis for good defense was there. Same with the general basis for a good build-up. Despite through balls still not totally being fixed, they're essentially on an animation loop. So they are better than they were before, but you can't totally control where you play your through balls, and that pass lock still occurs. Sometimes the ball will get locked onto your player's feet, and many times onto the defender's feet instead of going through the lane that is open. So that's annoying, and it's the same with shooting, right? There's some instances where the goalkeepers are totally broken and you're going, man, that should have been a goal. Some of the post hits look unrealistic, but there's definitely more goals occurring as you're seeing in this highlight video. So the question is, how does a game get a B+ grade when there hasn't been any major updates, and the last time I played I gave it a D- borderline F, right? Well, there's a couple different possibilities. One could be that they're making these ghost fixes. They're not really announcing them, but when they add new events and do these minor updates, they're also making changes that are actually major to the game. They just aren't making a big deal, right? That wouldn't make too much sense to me, but it's a possibility. The next thing is, since I've been heavily playing eFootball, and that game has plenty of issues of its own, there's a possibility that coming back to UFL with more manual control, with just that different feel to the unique eFootball feel, the game just felt overall better than it did when I wasn't playing eFootball as much, when I wasn't as familiar and totally locked into that way of play. That's another possibility, right? Meaning you could, dislike something tremendously, but you go into a way worse situation for a longer period of time. You come back to that thing you hated, and now you like it much better because that other thing you experienced made you appreciate it. And there's also another option, which is that many of the rattiest, glitchiest players have already climbed the ranks, and since I haven't played in a while, I'm not playing those players that are all about winning at all costs. They don't care if they're not playing football. They don't care if they're just going for exploits. That's what they're going to do because they got to win. And so I'm not playing as many of the exploit abusers. The players I'm up against could very well be lower skill, lower level players that don't care to go for glitches, right? All they're playing for is to have fun and enjoy a football game. So going back to the grade being B+ this time, it could be, as you see, many reasons that are causing me to have a much higher review of UFL. The bottom line, though, is I thoroughly enjoyed playing, and therefore I am going to grind Showdown leading up to the big tournament on Saturday. We will still have our eFootball game Friday. I'm not saying I'm quitting eFootball. I'm not saying, I'm totally going back to UFL. I'm just saying that playing tonight was absolutely fun, and we can expand that into Showdown and see if it was kind of just a one-trick wonder type of day where the game felt good. I was going against the perfect opponents. It was just a perfect storm. I don't believe that's it, but it could be, right? we will see when we play Showdown. We will see going forward. But as always, the most important part of any game is that you're having fun, is that you can grind the game and get better at it, get more skill, and therefore find more success on the pitch. It can't be first and foremost about exploits, right? That's why I left the game in the first place. And I didn't see that tonight. So we will continue on our mission to play good football on this channel, and we will give UFL another go. So stay tuned for further information on my new tactical setup. Right now, I am absolutely loving the 4-3-1-2, but I have something that a little birdie in the community told me to try, and I will test it out and bring it to you if it is viable. Last but not least, a reminder, 1K Cup, Saturday evening, 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. That is this Saturday, 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. 8 players, 1 champion of the 1K Cup who will solidify their name in history and solidify their place in the Champions Cup, which will go down later this year for cash money. Yes, the champion will receive cash money. So, what are you waiting for? Get onto Discord. Just say, I won in the tournament, or I'm in. I will know what you mean, and I will lock you in. Make sure you scroll up on Discord, read the information about the cup. You can also ask any questions you want to ask on Discord. And as always, keep grinding, keep having fun. I will see you on the next one. Peace.